All right, hey folks, how you guys doing today? We're going to do some game design. So give me a second here to check in on my signal, see if we're live. I'll do a quick intro, and then we'll get to work here for a few hours. Building out the 5e color mana system. We're going to develop Warlock subclasses. We've converted the scaffold of the base Warlock class structure for 5e 2024 into the color mana system. And now we will go through and develop each subclass. This is part of an ongoing project of us converting all 13 classes in D&D into a color mana system for use with Magic the Gathering, the other massive IP that Wizards of the Coast owns other than D&D. Once the color mana system is in place, the 2014 mechanics are already live on DMsGuild and have been there for 7 years. It's the first project that I developed when I started publishing on the DMsGuild, and the reason why I started publishing on DMsGuild was specifically because there was no color mana system, but Wizards was coming out with Magic the Gathering campaign settings for D&D, but they didn't introduce any color mechanics into it. So I wanted to be able to bridge that gap and bring that into play. And since that's against the design strategy of how Wizards is working in 5e, someone had to do it, and that person ended up being me. So I'm really proud of it. Super fun. My name is Phil Kearney. I've created role-playing games since 1987. I've been a Magic the Gathering enthusiast since 1994. I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999, and creating content on the DMsGuild for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition since 2018, with the first, which was the first campaign study for Magic the Gathering, which was the Ravnica, Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. That's what got us all started. So let me just go ahead and summarize here that I think today is cool when we do our design work. You can like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications of when we're live in the future. Here is a bunch of books that I've already created on the DMsGuild. They all have free previews for you to look at. Here's the color mana system that we're going to be using. All of these books are also free previews. We're working specifically on updating the spell Point Warlocks. Again, everything 100% free preview. Check this out. Diving into the spell Point Warlock system here. When we originally made this I think I made this in 2021. It was designed obviously with 5e14 structure, as well as the mana system that I built. So we first converted Spell Point Warlock into the 2014 DMG spell point mechanics, where it's 2 points for a first level spell and 13 points for a 9th level spell. And so we have the scaffold for short rest mana as pact magic up to level 5, and then long rest mana comes in at 11th level when you start acquiring Mystic Arcanum. So instead of just having a 6th level spell, a 7th level spell, an 8th level spell, a 9th level spell that you can cast over the course of the day, instead you get a mana pool that you can then spend the points here to cast your high magic spells, or if you'd rather, you could spend these long rests to supplement your short rest mana and cast a whole bunch of spells from level 1 through level 9, just based on how much mana you have available at the time. Short rest mana can be spent on spells up to 5th level, and the long rest mana can be spent on any spell up through 9th level. And then we converted over to the color mana system, which is much simpler. It's a 1-to-1 point ratio, so a first level character has 1 point, a 10th level character has 10 points. By the time you get to 20th level, you've got 20 mana. A 5th level spell costs 5 points, so by the time you get to 20th level, not 17th, you can cast 4 spells of 5th level in one go, or you could cast at 18th level, you could cast 3 at 5th level and then 1 at 3rd level, or 20 at 18th, like 18 first level spells. It's mana. Mix it up as ever you want. It adds a ton of flexibility to how the Warlock plays. Not to bore you too much with the details, but this is here for you guys to mess around with. Again, if you think it's cool, consider purchasing to support similar behavior. But today we're going to be working in the playtest document, which is a Google Doc here. It's read-only. But you are welcome to read along, and we've been rebuilding all of the classes and subclasses for all 13 classes in D&D into using this mana system as your primary resource for driving your character. We developed the martial power system for martial characters, barbarians, fighters, monks, rogues, as well as options for paladins, rangers, and artificers, as well as options for the warlocks. Whether you're using martial powers or not, though, the warlock system works well. So the entire magic system, it's a half casting system that's not casting magic, instead it's channeling powers. We have 189 unique powers between like cantrip effects that don't cost mana and disciplines which do cost mana. It's kind of a blend between Book of Nine Swords and Psionics from 3rd edition and the martial powers from 4th edition. Picking up and kind of playing around with the idea of the Battle Master, Arcane Archer, Psyblade options that already existed in 5e, as well as the Blood Hunter that came out. There's a lot of different ideas and inspirations that pull into making this system work, which we've spent a ton of episodes on. Go ahead and check out the playlists on my channel to see us walking through all these effects. But we've gotten through the martial power system, and that we're playtesting right now on my Discord channel. But if we skim all the way down, I think it's like around page 90 something. Here it is. It's page page 90. Here we go. Grand Spellcasters. We can drop this down to the next block. And Variant Spellcasters, that comes in at at page 103 on the document. There's 220 pages in this document. We're currently on page 103. It's going to be much more efficiently built once we actually go through the editing and layout process. But we'll do all that here on screen with you guys, so you'll see it eventually. Right now, we're just doing the mechanics of how the system works. So again, we have our number of spells that we can have prepared, the amount of mana that we have that we get back on a short rest, the amount of mana that we get back on a long rest using the 1-to-1 point ratio system that we have, your number of invocations, your cantrips, the maximum level spell that you can cast. With this, with the mana system that we have, Wish is a 10th level spell that can cast 9th and lower level spells as a standard as a magic action with a verbal component. And if you want to do something unusual, there's the list of unusual stuff that you can do for 10 mana a pop. And then you have the Beseech Patron, which is basically an epic wish where you permanently sacrifice mana to make your wish come true the way that you intended it. So the players and the DMs can negotiate. How do you want to change the world? Okay, it's going to cost you X amount of mana. And if you're willing to pay the price, you do the thing. It comes in at 20th level because that's when you're starting to retire your characters and your campaign ends. It's a good capstone to your campaign to have like an epilogue where they're actually physically changing the world to be better as a result of what you've done in the campaign. Super fun mechanic. Great narrative tool, especially if you have a table that stays from one campaign to the next and you're able to pull off 20 level campaigns. I run campaigns from level 1 to 20 in about 270 hours. So at 3 hours a session, it takes about 16 months for me to go through an entire campaign. But I'll go through a campaign and then I'll start over again, change the world with what you guys did in this campaign, change the world and update it, and pick another slice of life to dive into, and then build your characters up to 20th level there, and then change a piece of that world, and then build out another campaign and just keep rolling. Super fun way to play. If you have a dedicated table with players that you can count on a weekly basis to show up over and over again, you can have that sort of serial campaign for yourself. And that's what we've done at my home table, and ended up being able to develop and have plenty of playtesting for these mechanics over the past 7 years. So great opportunity. I'm really proud to be a part of this. We've built out all the features. We talked about those last session. When we last left off, we were dealing with invocations, and we finished all the invocations, but something I wanted to specifically look at that often comes up is the issue of smiting. So the way that Eldritch Smite works in the player's handbook is, let's dive down into Eldritch Smite. Here it is. Eldritch Smite reads as such: once per turn, when you hit a creature, where'd it go? There. Eldritch Smite. Once per turn, when you hit a creature with your packed weapon, you can expend a packed mana. You can expend a packed magic spell slot short rest mana to deal an extra D8 force damage to the target, plus using your spell slots, which are automatically going to be the maximum level of casting. At 5th level, when you get this, you're automatically casting at 3rd level. So it's D8 force damage plus another 3D8 damage for the level spell slot you're at right now, which is going to be 4D8 automatically, and you can do that twice. And you give and then they're prone if they're huge or smaller. So the way that the mana system works that we've developed here, though, is in extracting this document into its own window and cinching this up. Let's hold on real quick. I'm going to just double check to make sure everything looks the way. Yeah, everything's doing the way it's supposed to do. Perfect. Okay, so here we have at 5th level, you've got 48. You've got 2 spell slots, right? You get 3 spell slots at 11th, and then by 17th, you've got 4 spell slots. 3rd level, 4th level, at 7th level, it becomes 4th level spell slots, so it's 5d8. And then at 9th level, it becomes 5th level spell slots, and that's where pack mana caps at 5th level, so it becomes 6d8. And then you get a 3rd at 11th, and it's still capped at 5th. And 6 levels later, at 17th level, it becomes 4 spell slots instead of 3. So here's your damage potential using those numbers. It's going to be a bonus here. It's going to be anywhere from 4 to 32, which means you're going to do a total of anywhere from 8 to 64, and on average per day, assuming that you spend all your spell slots there on that short rest, you're going to do on average 32 damage as a result of that. At 7th level, it's the 5d8 with 2 of them. That's going to be a total of 10d8 damage, which is going to range basically from 10 to 80 damage. On average, it's going to be 45 damage per short rest that you're dealing with the Eldritch Smite. 9th level, you're upgrading again to 5th level spell slot, so it becomes 68 times 2 equals a total of 12d8 worth of smite damage, which is going to be anywhere from 12 to 96 damage, averaging around 54 damage that you're going to be dealing with your 2 spell slots during the course of a short rest. And then 11th level, you have 3 spell slots, so instead of 12, it's 18d8, which now upgrades to 18 to 144, which is going to average around 81 damage per spell slot that you spend when you hit. And then at 17th level, per short rest. And then at 17th level, when you cap out, you'll still have your 5th level spell slots, and you have 4 of them per day for a total of 24d8, which is going to range anywhere from 24 to 192 damage, or on average around 108 damage, using rounding up and stuff like that. So 54. Yeah, it's 54 times 2. That's where we get the 108. So there you go. Let's see. Okay, so that's your scale. Like, you at 17th level, you can anticipate dealing on average 108 damage if you spend all 4 of your packed mana spell slots. Having to cast them at 5th level during your short rest, that's the damage that you're dealing. So if we look over here, we can now parse through, and each point of mana with this is, so we change it, right? It's still 5th level when you get access to it. You can still cast up to 3rd level, which means you can put 3 mana in at a time. So when you hit a creature with your packed weapon, you can expend packed mana to deal an extra 2d6 force damage per mana expended this way, up to the maximum level spell of packed magic that you can cast as a warlock, maximum of 5th level. Because packed mana can't be used to cast higher than 5th level, and we don't have Arcanum generally spent on class features like this. Invocations generally use packed mana, not arcanum points. So we cap it at 5th, and you can't get above 5th. And so using your packed mana, when you hit a creature with your packed weapon, you can expend packed mana to deal an extra 2d6 force damage. So instead of dealing d8 plus 1d8 per mana, that's going to be way too much. We looked at this last time, and you can look at the kind of numbers that we were looking at last when we were here last. You're going to be doing double the damage, because that extra d8 on top of the amount of mana that you spend is overkill. They give you that extra d8 on top of the spell slot you spend because you're spending spell slots, not points. So you can't parse them out 1 point at a time. At 5th level, you have access to 3rd level spell slot, up to 3rd level spells, and you can spend 3 mana at a time, but you have 5 mana, which means that you could, at best, use 1 3rd level spell slot and a 2nd level spell slot. If you spend 1 mana on 2d8, it's going to average Generally, it's going to be 5 first 1 mana expenditures, which is going to be ranging from 2 to 12, which is going to be on average 7 each times 5 equals 35, which is pretty close to the 32 that you would have gotten with the 2 spell slots, except now we can parse them out 1 pop at a time. If you're dealing with trash mobs, for instance, like you have a brute, at 5th level, it's going to take maybe 30 some odd points of damage to kill. This is probably going to be a good way to go. You can drop him with, here's your 3rd level spell slot. Here is 21 damage on top of your weapon damage. This could probably kill off a decent mook at a time. So it's 1st level spell slots 2d12, it's 2d6, 2 to 12 damage, 7 on average. A 2nd level spell slot with 2d6 mana. It's going to be 4 to 24 damage a pop on average, 13 apiece. At 5th level with 5 mana, you've got 2 of these doing 13 damage each, and you've got a 1st level spell slot left over doing on average 1, doing 7 points of damage. It's going to end up being somewhere around 33 damage that you're going to deal, which is keeping pace with what we would expect to do. And then at the top end, you have 1 3rd level spell that you can cast as a 5th level caster, and a 2nd level spell. So that'd be a 3rd level and a 2nd level, which is 21. Again, 6 to 36, because it's 2d6 times 3 equals 6 to 36 damage, averaging around 21 damage per pop. You'll have one of those 21, and you'll have a 13, which is going to end up being somewhere around 34 damage. You don't have access to 4th or 5th level spell slots yet. But when we do have access to 4th level spell slots, it's 2d6 times 4, which is going to be around, 8d6, and that's going to be anywhere from 8 to 48 damage, averaging 28, sorry. And then 5th level, we cap out with 5 points of mana. We could do, we'll have 5 times 2d6. It's going to be 10 6-sided dice, which is going to range anywhere from 10 to 60 damage, averaging 35. So we get to, instead of doing the 5d8, here we get to grab 10 6-sided dice and just throw a fistful of sixers. I tell you what, one of the most satisfying things about being a full caster is throwing fists full of d6 dice. So having converting the Eldritch Smite to 2d6 up to 5th level. So at starting at 9th level, you can start throwing 10d6, a fistful of 10d6s every time you smite if you want to spend 5 mana. Super fun. Super satisfying, very visceral, very good feeling. You never feel like you're wasting time when you add up 10 6-sided dice to kill something. It always feels good. This is why Fireball's so fun. Granted, this is single target versus area of effect, but still, just the sensation of being able to throw a fistful of dice is fun. So if we're looking in scale, we already saw that if you spend all of your spell slots using the normal using the Vancian magic system, you're going to average around 45 damage over the course of the 2 spell slots. And here we can see as damage scales up, like at 7th level, you have 7 mana, so that 7 1st level spells is 49. That's pretty on par with where you're already at. 46, it's going to be 3 2nd level spell slots and a 1st level spell slot for 46 on average, or 2 3rd level spell slots and a 1st level spell slot with 49 on average. And here you've got access now to 4th level spells, which is going to be 1 4th level spell slot and a 3rd level spell slot for on average around 49 damage. So this is all really keeping within scale so far. Hey Steve, this is doing well, keeping in pace with the amount of damage that the player's handbook has you using with spell slots. But now we have a dynamic liquid system where it's a matter of, hey, I've got this pile of mana I can spend, and each point's going to give me 2d6 damage. What kind of a thing am I fighting right now? How many points do I want to dump in whenever I hit with an Eldritch Smite? And here we're taking away limitations. So it's when you hit a creature with your Pact weapon, you can expend Pact mana to deal an extra blah damage. Again, we're not limiting you to once per day. They gave you a limit in the player's handbook here in 2024. They're limiting you to once per turn because the Paladin is limited with 1 smite per bonus using a bonus action. Unfortunately, this guy gets to use it once per turn. They have 2 uses of Eldritch Smite per round, while your Paladin only has 1 use of Eldritch Smite per round, which is unfair. So the way that we correct that is, again, with the martial power system, is allowing you to add mana every time you hit. You can spend mana up to your max rank. Paladins, half casters at 13th level, you can throw 4 mana every time you hit. And with the Paladin, if you spend a bonus action on top of that, you add extra dice depending on what your level is. 1 extra die at 2nd level, 2 extra dice at 9th level, and at 17th level, it's 3 extra dice. So your character can deal with a 5th level spell slot at 17th level. Also spending your bonus spell, you can have 8 dice worth of damage. And you're rolling d10s at 17th level, so you end up doing up to 80 damage with the smite, which is about equal to the 9th level spell slot plus 1d8 that you would get if I went 2 levels of paladin and 18 levels of sorcerer. I could use up to my here. Sorry, tangent. It's paladin we're talking about. That's not here, but paladin specifically says you can. It's 1d8 plus d8 per spell slot, but there's no cap. So if you went multi-class 2 paladin, 18 sorcerer, you would have 9th level spell slots plus 1d8 per level of damage. So a 18th level sorcerer, 2nd level paladin could deal 10d8 dice worth of damage whenever you do a smite using that 9th level spell slot. For us then, the paladin, using the martial power system, rolling a d10 on your die at 17th level with a cap of 5 plus 3 from your bonus action, you can expend a bonus action and mana, 5 mana, you then be able to do 8d10 damage, 8 10-sided dice as opposed to 10 8-sided dice. A single class paladin using this martial system can keep pace with a multi-class paladin 2 full caster 18. Currently, the full caster paladin 2 18 full caster deals the most smite damage in the game because of the way that they worded the paladin smite in the player's handbook. So I'm actually feeling compelled to go look at it here real quick with you guys, because the paladin is still capped at 5th level. So you can't deal more than 6 dice worth of damage at d8s, which is about half of what a sorcerer can do and isn't even a dedicated caster, or isn't even a dedicated paladin. So that's a pretty big flaw in the game, according to me. So agree with me if you want. That's a lot of dice. Yeah, it is, my guy. Throwing dice is fun. Throwing dice is more fun than anything. Let's look at smite. I will happily eat crow if I am incorrect about this. So let's double check. You always have the die and smite prepared. In addition, you can cast it without expending a spell slot, but you must finish a long rest before you can cast it. In this way, again, they give it for free. We don't need to give you a free casting of Paladin Smite because you can eke them out one point at a time. So let's look at Divine Smite. It's a spell. The spell says target takes an extra 2d8 radiant damage from the attack. The damage increases by 1d8 if the target is a fiend or undead. And then that's at 1st level, and it's an extra d8 for every spell slot above that. So it's d8 plus 1d8 per spell slot, and it has no cap. So a sorcerer, 18 sorcerers, paladin 2 can, or actually paladin 1, sorcerer 19 can do 9th level spell slots with this. Sorcerers, full casters with a 2-level paladin dip is the strongest single target damage character in the game. There you go, and that is broken. What you wouldn't need to take paladin past 2nd level if all you're trying to do is maximize your damage. You should go into sorcerer so that you can start using meta magic with your like you could technically use meta magic with this. So it's just it's broken. Anyway, so yeah, that's a big fix. So to keep in scale with these fixes and to look at stuff, the paladin. A paladin, again, a paladin can do, you've got 4 uses of Divine Smite, of Eldritch Smite, which you can get up to 140 damage on average total, which is going to average 35 damage per hit. But the paladin can get around 45 damage. So the paladin per 5 mana is is dealing more damage than the Eldritch Smite can do. Eldritch Smite is second best. Paladin now with the martial power system, Paladin becomes the absolute best smiter in the game. Warlock, Eldritch Smite comes in second. The rest of the martials, like Rogue, well, I mean, if you're going to combine sneak attack with your smite damage, Rogue arguably does as much damage as the Paladin does, but more consistently. But the sneak attack is in there. It's not all radiant damage. And then like Fighter, Barbarian, Monk, they come in third tier, and then Ranger comes in last. And then you have full casters, which can't do it at all. So, but using this, its Eldritch Smite is very powerful, but a single class Paladin is stronger using the martial power system. That has never been the case. Eldritch Smite has always outshone what the Paladin can do pretty much at every level of the game, starting at 5th when you get access to Eldritch Smite. So I call that just unto itself a pretty significant victory. We spent a lot of time talking about Eldritch Smite, talking about Paladin Smite, damage scaling, multi-class scaling, and the amount of damage, consistent damage that other classes like Rogue and Fighter and Barbarian can deal. You can check through the history of the Martial Powers playtest playlist that we have. There's a lot of comments about that stuff in there throughout time, and we'll keep commenting about it in the future. But this was the most important piece that I needed to figure out. And since the Warlock is unique, it can have its own unique scaling, the 2d6 per mana. That it's working out perfectly. As you can see here, it's 108, 119, 111 to 119 is a little stronger than where they're at 17th level, but it never felt right that there's no changes from 11th to 17th level. It's just static, when it would imply that there'd be something at 13th level and 15th level, because how this is set up, that doesn't happen. And then there should be some sort of capstone, something at 19th for this. It's missing scaling. So by using the mana point system, we retain that scaling. And again, at 20th level, I mean, the Paladin's already doing 45 per hit at 17th level. So it's actually outpacing this. It takes 4 levels for the Paladin to for the Warlock to catch up. 45, 90, 180. So a Paladin would be able to do 180 damage at 17th level, as opposed to 118 damage on average coming from the Warlock. It takes another 3 levels to get to 20th level. The Paladin's still rocking 180 damage on average per long rest if he spends all of his mana there. The Warlock still isn't catching up. So better. The Sorcerer cannot do as well. Okay, here's the great thing about martial powers, and then I'll get back into Warlock. The really great thing about the martial power system is it's not just like sorcerers gain 0 power. They have all spell casting. Channeling power is different from spell casting. So a sorcerer, if you're using the martial power system, we recommend getting rid of the Divine Smite feature, the Divine Smite spell altogether. We just replace it with the strike powers, so that the sorcerer doesn't get access. Any full caster can't get access to Divine Smite at all, because when you're using the Paladin with martial powers, the Paladin doesn't get Divine Smite anymore. It's not on their spell list. They just get a class feature, which is Divine Smite instead. So it's literally impossible to multi-class into Sorcerer to be able to use that, because you aren't casting Divine Smite as a spell. The mana that you're getting from your Sorcerer can go into what you can do as a Paladin, but if you bail on Paladin at 2nd level, you can only spend 1 mana at a time on a Smite, and overclock it with your bonus action to be 2 mana. That's only 2d8 damage that you're dealing. That's as an 18th level Sorcerer, that's a waste of your time, which is how we should have it. If you really want to get good at smiting, you're either going to go Paladin, one of the other martial characters, or you're going to go Warlock. So that gives Warlock and the Paladin very unique niches that stand out from what the full casters were capable of doing in multi-classing. So these are just ways of allowing things to blend more smoothly into multi-classing, but creating these barriers between each other, because martials and spellcasting, their mana pool mixes, but the things that they can do with their casting levels don't. So that's pretty fun. Anyway, that's enough. We've gone through and we've completed all the invocations. If you're using martial powers, we have additional invocations, which is like Duplicate Blade. So if you have Pact of the Blade, if you take an additional invocation, you can now have 2 of them. And when you Eldritch Mastery, you can use the Weapon Mastery property of your Pact weapon. You could do that with a feat by picking up Weapon Mastery as a feat, or you can spend an invocation on it. So like you could pick up Nick, for instance. You could bond with like a pair of scimitars. And so you're going to make your Pact weapon. You're proficient with your Pact weapon as per Pact weapon. And now you could take Eldritch Mastery and you could pick up the Nick property off of scimitars. And then with Duplicate Blade, you can now have 2 Pact weapons that are both scimitars. And now you can make use of Nick, Nick as a subclass feature. So you could hit, and then you could use the Nick property so that you don't have to use a bonus action to be able to trigger 2 attacks. So you're able to keep up in your martial strength as a warlock that you would expect to be able to see, like, say, on a ranger or on a rogue. So it's just a way to get full caster other than the Blade Singer. The Warlock leans more into this martial combat system than any of the full casters ever could. So, hey, what's up? Happy 420. Yay, welcome to it, man. Thanks for keeping track with me. And then Eldritch Power, which is, now see here, we can't get any power. We can't get any martial strikes. We can learn masteries, and we can learn exploits, maneuvers, and reactions and sustained powers, but we can't learn any strike powers. So the Warlock can do damage through Eldritch Smite, but you're limited to the kicker effect being whatever your weapon mastery is. It's not like Thundering Strike or Banishing Strike or like Provoking Strike or Beguiling Strike. Like, we got 27 strike powers, and the Warlock doesn't get any of them. The Warlock just does force damage, plus whatever weapon mastery you decide to acquire, either through feats, multi-classing, or as an invocation. So you can do a lot of damage, but you don't have a lot of versatility, as opposed to a paladin could pick up like 20 some odd different strike powers and be able to weave those in to do whatever kind of extra damage plus weapon mastery sort of ramped effects, like push something 30 feet, for instance. What's up? Just finished a game of Frostgrave 2E. Whatever. I don't know what Frostgrave is. But yeah, and so you could learn here is your Eldritch Power progression table. You can repeat it. You can learn an exploit, which modifies actions and die rolls. Maneuvers, which are like spell-like abilities that can be used as magic actions or bonus actions. Reactions are self-explanatory. Make a reaction, spend mana to do it. And then sustained powers are like buff effects. They're like concentration effects you don't have to concentrate on that only affect you. And when you maintain when you sustain a power, it reduces the maximum level spell that you can maintain. So if a 9th level warlock, excuse me, let me adjust my seat. If a 9th level warlock, which can cast 5th level spells, but can only sustain 3rd rank powers, if I picked up a 3rd rank sustained power, I would subtract the number of ranks that I have, which is 3, from my maximum spell level, which is 5, meaning that I would only be able to concentrate on a 2nd level spell. If I was only sustaining a 2nd rank sustained power, then I would still be able to concentrate on a 3rd level spell. The total is 5. I can split up the levels between powers however I please, but those are limitations. So if I lean more into casting, I have less sustained powers. If I lean more into powers, there's less magic I can concentrate on. So like if we're talking about like a multi-class sorcerer, if that sorcerer wanted to gish hard, you might go like 9 paladin, 11 sorcerer, so you'd get access to 3rd rank powers for the paladin, so you'd be able to do 5 mana worth of damage when you're making the attack, and you'd still have access to 6th level spells as a sorcerer, and still be able to channel up the 3rd rank meta magic as a sorcerer. So you could weave together, like you could decide to, you could have a 3rd rank power, because that's the maximum. At 9th level paladin, the best you could have is a 3rd rank power. So you could maintain concentration on a 3rd level spell and be able to have a 3rd rank power at the same time. So that would be optimizing your Gish build. Like you could like turn on like celerity, which is basically like a self haste effect that doesn't stun you when it ends, and it never ends. So you could have like your celerity in effect and be able to have like blink, or I don't know what kind of like fly is a third level spell. That's a good one. Like you can maintain both of those at the same time. So that's what the Eldritch Powers does. And if you roll a power die, like if you acquired an exploit that allowed you to re-roll saving throws if you failed, and you put 2 mana into it at say 9th level, it'd be 2 8-sided dice, and you take the best result of those 2 dice and add it to your saving throw, and maybe that would mean that you would succeed the saving throw when you would have otherwise failed. So subclasses, we can start building out subclasses, and I'm not sure how far we've gotten. Okay, so the Archfey Patron looks like we've built out all of it. Here's how we've translated it. You can cast Misty Step as a 1st level spell instead of a 2nd level spell, so it only costs 1 mana for you to cast it. And Refreshing Step is immediately after you teleport, you can expend additional mana. You can cast Misty Spell whenever you cast that spell, you can choose to expend additional points of mana to add one or both of the following additional effects. Refreshing Step, immediately after you teleport, you can expend additional mana up to the maximum spell level of common magic that you can cast. You can expend additional mana up to 5 mana. I should actually probably express this as up to 5 mana. Mana up to your maximum spell level. Immediately after, you can expend additional pact mana. Up to the maximum. You can expend additional mana up to your maximum pact magic level. There. That's better English. Because pact magic stops at 5. Even though you keep gaining levels. You'll keep getting mana, but you're capped at 5th level because pact mana stops at 5th level. To gain a pool of temporary hit points equal to the result of rolling a number of d6 equal to the amount of mana expended this way. The temporary hit points can be divided between yourself and any number of creatures you can see within 10 feet of you. Taunting Step. You can choose to expend 1 additional point of mana to force creatures within 5 feet of the space you left to make a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC, or have disadvantage on attack rolls against creatures other than you until the start of your next turn. That's super juicy. I love that. Misty Escape. You can cast Misty Step as a reaction in response to taking damage. So that now becomes a permanent fixture that you have, and only costs 1 mana to do it. When you cast the spell, the following additional effects are now among your steps of phase steps options. So you already have Refreshing Step and Taunting Step. You now have Disappearing Step, which is you can choose to expend 1 additional point of mana to have the invisible condition until the start of your next turn, or until immediately after you make an attack roll, deal damage, or cast a spell. So that paces with the Vanish option that the marshals have, like the Paladin turning invisible. Spend a point of mana, turn invisible for 1 round. Dreadful Step, you can choose to expend additional points of mana damage to damage creatures within 5 feet of the space you left, or the space you appear in, your choice, taking d6 psychic damage of each for each point of mana you expend using this option, up to your maximum level, up to your maximum pact magic. Which automatically caps at 5. 10, Beguiling Defenses. This feature remains unchanged. Okay, great. Well, let's go check out that feature, because that's a bullshit thing to say. So Archfey Patron. Let's go down to. Oh, and we get spells. We get to add our spells. Fucking sweet. See, Misty Step should not be on your list because it's just given to you for free. It's a BS feature. Because as soon as you get it, you can maybe we'll leave it in place. You get it, and wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They give us 5 spells because Misty Step you get as a feature as well. So we should probably reword that to. You gain Misty Step as a prepared spell that doesn't count against the total you can prepare. Wait. Misty Step is always prepared, considered a Warlock spell, and doesn't count against the total number of spells you can prepare. Period. You can cast Misty Step as a first level spell. In addition, whenever you cast the spell, you can choose to expend additional mana to add one or both of the following additional effects. There you go. This class could seriously just cast Misty Step for your entire mana pool. That's all you do, buffing, debuffing, and damaging opponents around the battlefield. Super freaking fun. Let's go back to the 10th level feature here, because that is where we're at. Actually, since we're here, we did not add oh yeah, here they are. Let's go with spells. They're all variant at this point, so I don't need to spell out their variant features. They're all variant. You just choose to use them or not. Technically, you don't have to change anything in the game at all. You could just swap out the spell slots for an equal amount of mana, and you're good to go. But your balance is going to be off. Most of these changes that I'm implementing allows you to keep balance with the game using the mana system, and lets you do things that the player's handbook can't. Like, you don't need to give characters a shitload of free spells. Because you have so much mana, you'll be able to cast that many of that spell already anyway. Like they're giving you free spells because WotC recognizes that spell slots are very limited and don't allow you much flexibility. By swapping into a mana pool system, you now have massive flexibility on how you choose to spend your mana, and you can afford to literally spam spells over and over and over again. It really encourages that behavior, and I just think that's beautiful. So let's see, we are here. We're going to go with, Archfey spells. When you reach a Warlock level specified in the bonus spells table, you thereafter always have those listed spells prepared. So I'm going to eliminate this and this and this. Level spells. Let's go here. delete, copy, undo. I'm having a belly bubble issue. So I'm going to have to AFK here for a few minutes while I resolve my belly bubble. And I can come back and we'll keep building with this. So give me my apologies for having to step away, but I need to step away. BRB. All right, entertain yourselves. I will be right back. I have an issue I need to deal with. It's called a belly bubble, and I won't bore you with the liquid details. Be right back. Boy, oh boy. Almost there. Hold on. Be right back. Almost there. Man. What a nightmare. Oh, this is the, just for those that are wondering, this is the artwork for Golgari Warlocks that we have in the Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica. Give me a second here, I'll show you. Did my screen get knocked off kilter? Yeah, it sure did. Don't know when that happened. Sure did. Let's see if this is in the proper place. I think it's off to the left too much, off to the right too much. Yeah, that's off to the right too much. Cool. Let's bring this over. That's probably the right place. No, everything's still off. How about that? Almost there. Almost there. There we go. There it is. Okay, we're back on point. Keep it going. Man, I love doing this type of stuff. It's so super fun. So let's go back up to Archfey. We're filling in class features. Number 2 was a cutty paste that I didn't change, but we're adding all of the subclass features in here because they're all being rebuilt to a certain extent. So this says, that's a lot of text, dude. Let's copy, paste, paste. And you can regain uses of it by expending 2 points of mana, no action required. So let's see, bump. There. Your patron beseeches you how to guard your mind and body. You are immune to the charm condition. Pfft, that's really good. In addition, immediately after a creature you can see hits you with an attack roll, you can take a reaction to reduce the damage you take by half. And you can force the attacker to make a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, the attacker takes psychic damage equal to the damage you take. Once you use this reaction, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend a Pact Magic spell slot to restore your use of it. Whenever you spend a Pact Magic spell slot, it's increasing in damage. It's increasing its level automatically, but generally we find when we're using a mana system on a 1-to-1 point ratio, it's a second level spell slot that ends up being basically the middle of the road for your character. So we will replace that with, once you use this reaction, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend 2 points of mana, no action required. And then 14 is immediately after you cast an Archfey bonus spell by expending mana, you can cast Misty Step as part of the same action for 1 mana, plus any additional steps. So when I cast a spell, I can cast Misty Step on top of it for an additional point of mana, and then I can further kick it with whatever my Misty Step options are for Misty Escape and Step of the Fae. So immediately after you cast an Archfey, I want to see how that's actually worded in here. Immediately after you cast an enchantment or illusion spell using an action and a spell slot, you can cast Misty Step as part of the same action and without expending a spell slot. So they're giving it here for free, but you're going to have to spend 5 mana. At 14th level, it's going to be 4 mana. No, it's 5 mana. So at 14th level, you have to spend 5 mana to be able to trigger that spell, and you get Misty Step for free. We're still charging you a point of mana to cast it because that's what it does, and it'll cost you 5 mana. So it'd be up to 6 mana that you would spend to be able to pop Bewitching Magic. And this is limiting it to only enchantment and illusion spells. I wonder, enchantment, illusion, enchantment, illusion, enchantment, illusion. Most of the spells on this list are qualify for free, except for plant growth and what was the other one? Fairy Fire Evocation. So Fairy Fire and plant growth are basically the only 2 spells that you wouldn't be able to cast for free with this. So we just went ahead and resolved it by saying all of your bonus spells you can trigger. So let's add in our spells and move on from there. Move on to the next subclass. This is great. We're getting stuff done, folks. I'm on vacation this week, so tomorrow at lunchtime, normally I stream art Monday through Friday in the mornings from like 6:30 Seattle time till 8 o'clock, like maybe an hour and a half. And then on Mondays and Thursday nights, I'll do like 2 or 3 hours worth of design. And then on Tuesdays and Fridays, I have an hour lunch I can take to then log on here and do some more design work with you. But I'm on vacation tomorrow, and I'm on vacation on Friday. So I'm going to have, I could do 3-hour sessions on Tuesday and Thursday. Obviously, we're doing like a 3-hour session here tonight. On Thursday, I'll be back. We can do a few hours session, but I'm also on vacation on Thursday, so I can start that early. Probably at 4. We'll probably start at 4:30. Not real early, but a little early. And then we'll be able to have 3-hour sessions. Like tomorrow morning, I'll probably be on Art Life from 6:30 till 9ish, and then come back around like at 2 o'clock to do a 3-hour session. And then I'll go on and have a night. And then we'll come back Wednesday morning for, I actually work on Wednesday, so it'll be a normal hour-and-a-half session on Wednesday. And then Thursday I'll be on in the morning for 3 hours, and then I'll do a 3-hour lunch, or a 3-hour evening session. And then Friday, 3 hours in the morning, and then we'll have a 3-hour lunch session as well then. And then Monday I have on vacation because of the holiday here in America, so I'll do a 3-hour session in the morning. And then a 3-hour session at night as well. So a lot of stuff coming through. We should have the Warlock finished this week, no problem. And then we're just gonna roll through all the martial classes again to make sure everything is in place that needs to be in place. So call in motion. Phantasmal Force. Sleep, blink, plant growth, silly dewdrop. Dominate person. Seeming. Such great spells. Such a cool sub. Archfey is such a cool subclass. Just, I love this shit. It's so fucking cool. Alright, Celestial. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do you really need 6 spells? Alright, how does this go? You gain a pool of d6s that you can use to restore vitality to your allies. The number of dice in the pool equals to 1 plus your Warlock level. As a bonus action, you can heal yourself or one creature that you can see within 60 feet of yourself, expending dice from the pool. The maximum number of dice you can expend at once equals to 1 plus your spellcasting ability modifier, because we allow you to use either charisma or intelligence. Take your choice. Roll the dice you expend, restoring a number of hit points equal to the roll's total. Alternatively, you can expend those dice to restore mana instead of hit points. For every 2 dice that you expend, 1 point of mana is restored, round down. Your pool regains all expended dice when you finish a long rest. I think that's just too good. I'm going to take that away. I don't want Warlocks restoring hit dice. Restoring mana. I like that being limited to the Artificer and the Paladin. I think those are good places to have that. Syrian Vengeance. This feature remains unchanged. Okay, 3rd, and then we have a 6th and a 10th that we need to fill in. So let's fill in our. Let's finish out the features and then we'll look at the spells. Radiant Soul. You link your your link to your patron allows you to serve as a conduit for radiant energy. You have resistance to radiant damage. Once per turn, when a spell you cast deals radiant or fire damage, you can add your charisma modifier to that spell's damage. Again, one of the spell's targets. Okay, it sounds like just twin spell. So let's go to here. Pop, 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 pop. Radiant Soul. You link. Okay, so here's something we were talking about. Guiding Bolt being a really powerful spell. It only costs 1 mana for 46 damage. That is obviously going to be what your Warlock is going to do, and they're going to constantly deal out a lot of damage if you give them that spell. They have too many spells. I think taking away Guiding Bolt is perfectly fine. Sacred Flame, Flame-like Radiance, descends on a creature. You can see target must succeed. Oh, it's a cantrip. Oh, it's a cantrip. Interesting. Aid? Is Aid a cantrip? No. Light, also a cantrip. 2 cantrips. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Healing Light. You're linked to your patron. I don't care about flavor text. You have resistance to radiant damage. Once per turn, when a spell you cast deals radiant or fire damage, you can add your charisma modifier to that spell's damage against one of the spell's targets. Yeah, I'm good with that. You can add your spell casting ability modifier to that spell's damage against one of the spell's targets. That's actually pretty good. That's fair for 6. Celestial Resilience. You. One, two. There. You gain temporary hit points whenever you use the magical cunning feature or finish a short or long rest. These temporary hit points equal your Warlock level plus your charisma modifier. Equal your Warlock level plus your charisma modifier. These temporary hit points equal your Warlock level plus your charisma. Okay, plus your spell casting ability. Period. Additionally, choose up to 5 creatures that you can see. When you gain the points, those creatures each gain temporary hit points equal to half your Warlock level plus your spellcasting ability modifier. So far, everything feels pretty good here. 14 Searing Vengeance. Or expend 5 points of mana. No action required. When you or an ally within 60 feet of you is about to make a death save, you can unleash radiant energy to save the creature. The creature gains hit points equal to half its hit point maximum and can end the prone condition on itself. Each creature of your choice that is within 30 feet of the creature takes radiant damage equal to 2d8 plus your spellcasting ability modifier. And each has the blinding condition until the current end of the current turn. Okay, I'm pretty good with that. Let's go with our spell list. Light, Sacred Flame, Cure Wounds, Guiding Bolt, Aid, Lesser, Restoration, Daylight, Revivify, Guardian of Faith, Wall of Fire, Greater Restoration, Summon Celestial. Whew, boy, yeah, I'm really mulling over that Guiding Bolt. Guiding Bolt is 46 damage. It's going to average around 12. Third level, let's see. You're going to have Eldritch Blast, which is going to be 2d10 at 5th level, and that's going to be for free. And it will do roughly 11 damage per hit. Let's look up Guiding Bolt real quick to see how its damage scales. And for each additional point of mana expended, it increases by d6. So 5d6 is going to be 5 mana. Sorry, yeah, 5 mana is going to be 8d6. Average of 32 for 5 mana. It's actually pretty bad. For a single target, that's actually a pretty bad return. Okay, I'm okay, Boff. I'm okay with Guiding Bolt. Perfectly okay with it. You have a 2-level edge. And then it just becomes expensive to use. Eldritch Blast is far more efficient. Well, there are 2 attack rolls with Eldritch Blast. I'll give you that. You have to hit with both of them, while you only have to hit with one with the Guiding Bolt. So, in fact, it'd be more like 8 damage on average from Eldritch Blast, while it'll be 12 damage from Guiding Bolt. I'm still okay with it. Cantrip's free, Guiding Bolt 1 mana, chance to miss. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with it. It's not broken. It's good, but it's not broken. So, that resolves Celestial. Exclamation point for completed. Exclamation point. 1, 2, 3. Cool. Fiend spells. What you got? Burning Hands. Scorching Ray. Suggestion. Fireball. Stinking Cloud. Fire Shield. Wall of Fire. Gesh. Insect. Plaggy. Blagoo. It's in there. And level 10 is missing. Thank you, Timely Timer. When you reduce an enemy to 0 hit points, you gain temporary hit points equal to your spellcasting ability modifier. Plus your Warlock levels, minimum 1 temporary hit point. You also gain this benefit if someone else reduces an enemy within 10 feet of you to 0 hit points. When you reduce, you gain temporary hit points. No reaction required. Moreover, you can expend additional mana when you gain temporary hit points this way, gaining D6 additional temporary hit points for each point of mana expended this way up to your maximum Pact magic level, which is 5 at 9. Dark One's Own Luck. When you make an ability check or a saving throw, you can use this feature to add D10 to your roll. You can do so after seeing the result, but before any of the roll's effects occur. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your ability check modifier, your spell casting ability modifier, minimum once, but you can use it no more than once per roll. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest, and you can regain one of it by expending 2 points of mana. No action required, but it's a D10. Okay. I'm fine with that. And this is called Fiendish Resilience. Choose one damage type other than force. Whenever you finish a short or long rest, you have resistance to that damage type until you choose a different one with this feature. Cool. Hurl Through Hell. Once per turn, when you hit a creature with an attack roll, you can try to instantly transport that target through the lower planes. The target must succeed on a charisma saving throw against your spell save DC, or the target disappears and hurtles through a nightmare landscape. The target takes 8d10 psychic damage if it isn't a fiend, and it has the incapacitated condition until the end of your next turn. When it returns to the space it previously occupied or the nearest unoccupied space. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest unless you expend 5 mana. No action required to restore use. Oh, look at that. A Pact Magic spell slot to use it again. And it'd be a 5th level Pact Magic spell slot. It'd be 5 mana. Look at that. The system reinforces itself. How fun. Okay, well that caps off the Fiend. That was easy. When there's a system in place, these things are really easy to build. I love the 5e2. I love 2024 mechanics more than I like 2014 because they're more interesting. They create neat synergies. You get kicker effects and bonus things that happen as a result of doing something. I love that shit. It's so fun. And with mana, you can just lean into it more on a point-by-point basis. It's super fun. Super, super fun to do. Who are we looking at? Great Old One. Sure. Get. That's me not sleeping enough. Wait. Yeah, Dark One's Blessing. Spells. Tasha, Phantasmal. Cool. Controllable laughter. Clairvoyance. Hunger of horror. Confusion. Summon aberration. Modify memory. Telekinesis. Very good. Telepathic speech. Let's make sure I got rid of all the, all this variant stuff. I don't need to include all this variant stuff. They're all variants. Every single one of them is just a variant thing. Variant, 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 variant. You purged? Good. You purged? Good. Two. Let's see how this shit shakes out. Awakened Mind. Here we go. As a bonus action, choose a number of creatures up to a number equal to your spellcasting ability modifier. Spellcasting ability modifier. Because currently a warlock can be either charisma or intelligence. If I'm thinking about adding wisdom for the more divine inclined, that you can see within 30 feet of yourself, you and the chosen creatures can communicate telepathically with each other while they are within a number of miles of each other equal to your spellcasting ability modifier. Spellcasting ability modifier minimum 1 mile. To understand each other, each creature must mentally use a language the others know. The telepathic connection lasts for a number of minutes equal to your Warlock level. You can choose to maintain concentration as a level 1 spell, to continue sustaining the effect while to extend the connection, ending when you expend the mana. If you end the effect without losing concentration, you regain the expended point. Otherwise, it ends early if you use this ability to form a connection with another creature. If you end the effect without losing concentration, you regain the expended point of mana. Yeah. Psychic spell. When you cast any level 1+ spell from your Great Old One's bonus spell list above, it requires no verbal or somatic components. And it requires no material components unless they are consumed by the spell or have a cost specified in it. Clairvoyant Combatant. When you form a telepathic bond with a creature, you're using your telepathic speech, using your awakened mind. You can force that creature You can force that creature to make a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, the creature has disadvantage on attack rolls against you. And you have advantage on attack rolls against the creature for the duration of the bond. You can choose to tap 1 additional mana to continue sustaining the effect while you maintain concentration. Ending when you expend the mana. Otherwise, it ends early if you use this ability to connect with a different creature. And then duplicate language. You form a telepathic bond with the creature using your awakened mind. You can force that creature to make a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, the creature has disadvantage on attack rolls against you, and you have advantage on attack rolls against the creature for the duration of the bond. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or a long rest, unless you expend a pack mana spell slot. Unless you expend 2 mana, no action required to regain it. Period. And Great Thrall. When you cast Summon Aberration, you can choose for it to be a persistent spell. You can have only 1 aberrant summoned at a time this way. Persistent means that it lasts until you finish a long rest, and if you choose, you can choose to leave the mana cast. The mana that you expended to cast the spell can remain expended, and the spell duration doesn't end at the end of the long rest. The aberration has a number of temporary. When summoned, the aberration has a number of temporary hit points equal to your warlock level plus your spell casting ability modifier. In addition, the first time each turn the aberration hits a creature under the effects of your hex, aberration deals extra psychic damage to the target equal to the bonus damage. Why are you assuming I have hex? Did I forget that you get free uses of hex? Is it implied somewhere in here that you get free uses of hex? Because I don't recall you getting free uses of hex. That's a weird assumption to make. Hold on, let's just make sure I didn't make that up. Why are you assuming I have hex? Let's go back to our features. Pack magic, cantrips, 2 warlocks, cantrips of your choice. 4 and 10, you learn additional cantrips. We have listed above. Spell slots, whatever. Looking for hex. Looking for hex. Hex is not a bonus spell. Okay, so they expect you to have hex, but they don't give you hex. I declare shenanigans. So I'm going to swap one of the spells that you get with hex. Hex. Phantasmal Force. Let's just check our head before we wreck ourselves. Phantasmal Force. Spellcasting. 2nd level spellcast. You attempt to craft an illusion. Good luck. Okay. Dissonant Whispers. Good. No, I didn't ask for fucking unicorn. Uncontrollable laughter. Oh, hideous laughter. Thank you. X should be first. Phantasmal Force? Let's check this again, just to make sure. Okay, second, first level, second. Okay, cool. I'm cool with giving you Hex. You should have Hex because it has a use of Hex. So to have use of Hex infers requirement for Hex. So that'll close off the Great Old Patron, Great Old One. And now we can work our way into the Forsaken subclasses. So let's go fetch. Scroll on down. Just gonna grab the whole block. I can feel another bubble in my belly. I've pounded some Pepto, but it takes time for that stuff to take effect. And this belly bubble is going to burst. Sooner than later, it is going to pop. How many of these are there? Let's go into the Wayback Machine. Classes, 2014 classes. Thank you, Timely Timer. Player's Handbook. Tasha's Cauldron. It's 520. I suspect Great Old One replaces Fathomless. Okay, we've got some good stuff here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And we have the Horror UA for the new Hexblade. We'll have an opportunity to look at the solutions that they created for the Hexblade and see if we agree with them or not. That's going to be super fun. 1, 2, 3. But I have a liquid bubble in my belly that is going to pop. So I'm going to have to take another moment here. I did not expect this today, so my apologies, my friends. But I'm having a little bit of an issue. So the Undying, give me a second here for me to try to sort this out. The Undying patron. Undying. Genie spells. And then the last one is Fathomless. All right, then. Fathomless. Spells. Tentacles. There's a lot of shit going on at these lower levels, dude. You need to trim that crap down to one feature, thank you. Please and thank you. Okay. So, Fathomless. I've got a belly I need to resolve. So, hold on. My sincere apologies. But we're going to have to BRB. Be right back, my guys. Round 2 of the Liquid Belly. Hopefully, third time will be a charm. Let's get back to it. Let's see. Put that away. I feel like I want to work top down for some reason. Fathomless is just feeling goofy. So let's go Fathomless Plunge. Hold on. Okay. Let's grab this. Can magically open temporary conduits to water destinations as an action. You can teleport yourself and up to 5 other willing creatures that you can see within 30 feet of you amid a whirlwind of tentacles. Up to 1 mile away in a body of water you've seen, pond size or larger, or within 30 feet of it, each of you appearing in an unoccupied space within 30 feet of each other. That is a horrible fucking feature. Up to 1 mile away? Or within 30 feet of it. That's super not good. In a body of water you've seen. In an unoccupied space. No. I am not in favor of this action. I think this is kind of shit. So let's replace it. Let's look at Plane Shift. Seventh level spell. You get it at 13th level. Magic action. You can cast Plane Shift. On yourself and up to 5 other willing creatures that you can see within 30 feet of you. You reappear. You reappear. You appear in or within 30 feet of. You reappear in or within 30 feet of a body of water. You reappear in or within 30 feet of the nearest body of water to the destination. Font size larger. To the destination, comma, each of you appearing in the unoccupied space within 30 feet of the others. If the destination plane has no water, this effect, this feature without expending any mana. You appear in or within 30 feet of the nearest body of water. If the destination plane has no water, the feature fails without being expended. Otherwise, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. There you go. It's 14th level. Just give it to him. It's a decent. It's a decent usage this way. God, what a horrible fucking feature. Grasping tentacles. Let's grab this guy real quick. The spell of Ours Black Tentacles is always prepared as a Warlock spell, as a Warlock spell, without counting against the total number of spells you can prepare. Whenever you cast this spell, your patron's magic bolsters you, granting you a number of temporary hit points equal to your Warlock level. Moreover, damage can't break your concentration on this spell. Holy shit. Moreover, damage can't break your concentration on this spell. That's great. Okay, I like it. I'm good with it. Nice and simple. Proceed. So what's going on over here? Guardian Coil. Your tentacles of the deep can now defend you and others, interposing itself between them and harm. When you or a creature you can see takes damage while within 10 feet of it, you can use your reaction to choose one of the creatures and reduce the damage by that by D8. And when you reach 10th level, the damage can be reduced by 2d8. You are now even more at home in the depths. You gain resistance to cold damage. In addition, when you are fully submerged, any creature that is also fully submerged can understand your speech, and you can understand theirs. Wow, what a BS feature. Okay, resistance to cold damage is okay. Gift of the Sea. You gain a swimming speed of 40 feet, and you can breathe underwater. Gift of the Sea. In addition, when you are fully submerged, okay, Gift of the Sea, kind of a BS feature. So let's add in the Tentacles of the Deep. Am I breaking format? I feel like I'm breaking format. Okay, let's see how this shakes out. Get rid of that. Tentacles of the Deep. Let's check out how tentacles work, and then let's look at whether we can just blend Guardian Coil into it or not. What a feature. Jesus. Alright, so as a bonus action, you create a 10-foot long tentacle at a point that you can see within 60 feet. The tentacle will last for 1 minute or until you use this feature to create another tentacle. When you create the tentacle, you can make a melee spell attack against one creature within 10 feet of it. On a hit, when you create the tentacle, okay, and its speed is reduced by 10 feet until the start of its next turn. When you reach 10th level, the damage increases to 2d8. As a bonus action on your turn, you can move the tentacle up to 30 feet and repeat the attack. You can summon the tentacle a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. And regain all proficiency equal number of times equal to your spellcasting ability modifier. You can also expend 1 mana to regain a use. No action required. So now we have unlimited mana. There you go. Unlimited mana. Unlimited uses as long as you're willing to spend mana on it. On a hit, the target takes d8 cold damage. When you reach 10th level, the damage increases to 2d8. When you or a creature you can see takes damage within 10 feet of the tentacle, you can use your reaction to choose one of those creatures and reduce the damage when you or a creature you can see takes damage while within 10 feet of the tentacle. You can use your reaction to choose one of those creatures and reduce the damage to that creature by d8. When you reach 10th level of this class, the damage reduced by the tentacle increases to d8. Okay, Guardian Coil. not a fan of having two features. In subsequent rounds, you can use a bonus action for the tentacle to appear at another location within 30 feet of within 30 feet to appear at another location within 30 feet of you. While the for 1 minute or until you use this feature to create another tentacle in the subsequent rounds, you can use this bonus action for the tentacle to appear at another location. The tentacle on subsequent rounds you can use a bonus action again for the tentacle to appear at another location within 60 feet of you. The tentacle remains for up to 1 minute or until you use this feature and you can use it, and you can create, and you can use this feature a number of times equal to your ability modifier, blah, blah, blah. And you can use this, and you can summon the tentacle, right? As a bonus action, you summon a 10-foot. There you go. Okay, great. While summoned, you can during as part of the same bonus action used to summon the tentacle, to summon or move the tentacle, to move the tentacle to another location within 60 feet of you. There you go. The tentacle remains for up to 1 minute. As part of the same bonus action used to summon or move the tentacle, as a bonus action, which can be part of the same bonus action used to summon or move the tentacle. You can make a melee spell attack against one creature within 10 feet of it. On a hit, the target takes D8 cold damage, and its speed is reduced by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. As a reaction, Oh, yeah. Let's see. Tentacle attack. Guardian Coil. While summoned, you can use the tentacle in two ways. Tentacle attack. Guardian Coil. When you or a creature you can see takes damage while within 10 feet of the tentacle, you can use your reaction to choose one of the creatures and reduce the damage to that creature by 1d8. Plus your Warlock level. There. Much more stable. Oceanic Soul becomes kind of a nothing burger, but we have this stacking gain now for Guardian Coil and Tentacle attack. Am I happy with that? Oceanic Soul is kind of a nothing burger. But the D8 plus Warlock level makes more sense with how 5e works now. 5e24 works in comparison. So let's there's something we had. Where'd it go? Hold on. There we go. You gain a swimming speed of 40 feet and you can breathe underwater. In addition, when you are fully submerged, you gain a swimming speed of 40 feet. You can breathe underwater. And you have resistance to cold damage. In addition, there we go. So resistance to cold, swimming speed, breathe underwater. You can breathe underwater, and you have resistance to cold. In addition, when you are fully submerged, any creature that is also fully submerged can understand your speech, and you can understand theirs. You gain a swimming speed of 40 feet, blind sense. Let's see. You gain swimming speed, you can breathe underwater, and you have resistance to cold damage. In addition, when you are fully submerged, you have blind sight, 30 feet, and any creature that is also fully submerged can understand your speech. Why would they be speaking while fully submerged? That'd be difficult. Good enough. Okay. And let's go ahead and drop in our Fathomless spells, and we'll call it done. Move on to the next piece. So, create or destroy water. That makes sense. Create or destroy water. Thunder wave also makes sense. A little on the nose with the wave, but gust of wind. Silence. Lightning bolt, sleet storm. Control water. Summon aberration. Big B's hand. Cone of gold. Let's go look at our summon list. One second. You sure do take some time there, buddy. Let's take a sip of water. There we go. This is the color mana list for 2024. Conjure minor elementals. Summon elemental. Cool, okay. Hey, we finished that one. Congratulations to us. Well done, team. Let's keep moving. Fathomless is resolved. The fucking Genie. I am not a fan of Genie. Okay, we got 3 left. Can we knock out the Genie and Undying and then play with Hexblade? I'd like to. I think I'd like to. Let's see if we can push through. I'm feeling creative fatigue. We've been at it for 2 hours. This is when I typically start hitting a creative wall. I want to retreat back to off-screen activity. But let's see where we're at with the Genie. You know what? Yeah, we've been playing with this for 2 hours. You know what? Fuck that. Let's go ahead and cut it. We're gonna do the Genie, the Hexblade, and the Undying. We're gonna do those tomorrow. Yeah. We'll finish the Patreon. We'll finish the Warlock. I'm gonna reclaim my time. I'm going to go ahead and cut stream here. Genie, Hexblade, and Undying. We'll do those 3 tomorrow and finish off the Warlock. And then I think we'll just need to sweep through the martial classes again, and just make sure they're all up to gear. I'm going to go ahead and cut stream. I've got some mega dungeon design that I need to do, but I can't do it on stream because most of my mega dungeon participants watch my stream. So I don't want to give away what I'm doing with my maps. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and cut here. I'm going to be back tomorrow morning to do more Eberron art. I will be back tomorrow afternoon, like around 2 o'clock Seattle time, and we'll keep working on the Warlock, and when we finish the Warlock within our 2-hour block, we'll start messing around with the other subclasses. So that's it for now, guys. Thanks a lot for checking out. If you think this stuff is cool, check down below. A bunch of books I have, they're all free previews. Patreon, Discord's free access. And thanks a lot for being around. I'll see you guys on the other side. Cheers.